In the year 1991 AD, a certain game containing a blue hedgehog as the protagonist was released. This event would come to be known as the Great Furring. Following the Great Furring, a vast amount of furries spawned into our world. Personal computers, also known as the PC, were becoming widely popular, thus bringing rise to the World Wide Web. Many furries spawned from the Great Furring would ultimately end up connecting to this World Wide Web. They would fester for many years as this new technology continuously blossomed with opportunity. These furries would post their cringiness from within the depths of their personal Angelfire and GeoCities sites. In the year 2000 AD, they would find refuge on a new cancerous shithole known as DeviantArt. But in 2005 AD, the entire internet would be turned upside down when YouTube was born. YouTube would become the permanent breeding ground for all modern Sonic autism as we know it. Sonic autism is still afflicting the World Wide Web to this very day.
Welcome to the worst mistake that you've ever made. But let's talk about some video games. My name is Tofu the Survivor, and it's my review show. And if you don't know the name of it, I thought you'd like to know that it's Tofu time, and it's my review show. If I could sing a theme song, I wouldn't be doing this. But we're starting Tofu game time, that's how it'll always be. It's time for another episode. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Tofu the Survivor, and welcome back to another episode of Tofu Game Time, where today we're not going to be reviewing any games at all. In fact, we're just going to be taking a look back at a legacy that has been living for so many years, that has been controversial, hated, loved at the same time, rocked the 90s, is still rocking video game culture today as we speak. I don't know if in a good way, but today we're going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog lately has been very controversial with all of the different titles coming out, most being subpar, mediocre garbage, and some titles here and there being very good. He's been the topic of many heated debates in terms of, whether Sonic games are still good or have they ever been good at all. Very loved, very hated at the same time, has basically become the poster child for commercialized mental disability, for lack of a better phrase. But regardless of that, though, I wanted to go ahead and take a look back at what started Sonic, what made him so good, and just really dig into the original games. That's right, we're going to be covering Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic CD, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Sonic and Knuckles, combined with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and spin on in. Oh, I feel my autism growing already. There's something strange about it, but isn't it weird that this blue hedgehog somehow managed to captivate the imaginations of so many gamers back in the year 1991? I mean, think about it. It's great. It's a blue hedgehog, he runs fast, and all you do is you hold right on the D-pad, and you go as fast as possible. Well, at least as fast as this game will let you go. While Sonic the Hedgehog 1's first outing is certainly an impressive attempt, it's one of the games that I'd say I definitely would like to love, but nostalgia does not blind me to the fact that this game is in fact a pretty okay game, pretty standard in terms of yes, certain parts of the game will let you go fast, others make you slow down to a crawl, making this not a very fast game at all. And I can definitely say with 100% certainty that Green Hill Zone is the biggest offender of this crime in this game. And before we go any further with this game, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on the table. I don't really like Sonic the Hedgehog 1. No, I'm being dead serious. I'm not even fucking joking. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. And this is about the point where everybody's clicking away from the video, I'm losing subscribers, and I'm officially never going to have a career further than this video. not saying Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is bad, like I said, it's just a very average game. Yes, there's some speed in it, but I feel like all they did was they sold the customers back in 1991 a proof of concept that you could make a fast side-scrolling game like Sonic the Hedgehog with roller coaster loops and put it on something like an engine called a dot matrix and then slap the term blast processing on it. That's really what it comes down to.
Wow, Sonic's fast too.
As soon as you hit the second area, it's just nothing but slow crawl through like caves and lava and just waiting for blocks to shoot up. Yes, I'm gonna pick on Marble Zone. The song is catchy, but I didn't enjoy playing it as a child in 1991, and I certainly don't enjoy playing it as an adult today in the year 2017. It's not a good design, it's frustrating to play, and it's just an example of one of the many bad levels that make me not like Sonic the Hedgehog 1 nearly as much as its predecessors. Ah yes, look at this classic Sonic the Hedgehog timeless gameplay. Waiting while platforms go up and down, so that you can make it to the bottom of a level, not going fast. But hey, when I talk about fast gameplay, just look at these fantastic special stages. Look at this gameplay right here. Because when I think of Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay and precise platforming, I think of a spinning maze that gives you a headache. Yep, that's right. I've had people argue with me that these special stages are awesome. And I would really like to differ. These hurt my head, and I don't enjoy playing them, and I can't imagine why anybody would enjoy playing a special stage like this.
Please get everything off of the internet now, 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 now!
I might imagine maybe back in the day when this game first came out, this might have been cool and revolutionary, but nowadays, or maybe even after Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is released, I can't imagine why anybody would favor these special stages over any of the ones in the later games. These are awful, and anybody that tells me otherwise, they're not a human being. They're probably a furry. Just kidding, I love you, Justice. So some people want to talk about how some people are Sonic autistic because they own too much Sonic merchandise. Well, I think there's a difference between being Sonic autistic and actually, owning Sonic merchandise. You can be a dedicated fan, own Sonic merchandise. Like, take for example, I'm not Sonic autistic. I've had this Sonic plushie, I've had this Tails plushie, I've had these guys since I was like 5 fucking years old, so Sonic autism is not the case here. This is just me being a dedicated and faithful fan to Sonic the Hedgehog. I promise you, I am not Sonic autistic.
Now, now, now!
Got a bit sidetracked there, but I just want to get back on track and talk about what is actually supposed to be going on in this video, and now I believe we're at Sonic 1's final boss. In this final boss, Dr. Robotnik tries to motorboat Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, no, not exactly, but he basically just tries to crush you with some pistons, and you have to bump him a bunch, and there's something about there that tries to kind of zap you every now and then. For the grand finale to Sega's Killer App, it's a very lackluster boss fight that still does not impress me at all in any way to this very day. Like I said, I've had my gripes about a lot of stuff in this game. I've called it, pretty decent, a pretty average platformer of its time, but this finale really takes the cake in mediocrity. So fuck that, we're just gonna skip to the end of this fight. So Sonic chases Robotnik and he gets away. You can choose to either kill him or not kill him, but I mean, regardless of what you do, the story doesn't change because Sonic's too much of a cuck to actually kill Robotnik. After Sonic the Hedgehog's critical success in 1991, Sega was not done with their push on the North American market. They wanted more.
Now, when you buy the Sega Genesis that comes with Sonic 1, you'll get Sonic 2 absolutely free. Sonic 2 handles stubborn stains.
Great for a box of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hooray for the taste, the honey sweet taste.
Use the Supersonic Spin Attack. Smash Dr. Robotnik.
They wanted more ground. They wanted to fight against Nintendo. So they went ahead and they released Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and this game in comparison to Sonic the Hedgehog 1 kicks some serious fucking ass.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 starts almost exactly the same way as Sonic the Hedgehog 1 started, except now you might notice that you have a furry cohort following behind you. His name is Tails, or Miles. It doesn't make a difference, it just depends on which region you live in, but honestly, who fucking gives a shit? He's just one of the many reasons on a big list why there's so many fucking fox furries. In comparison to Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 definitely has more speed in every one of its zones. Even some of the zones that are slower towards the end of the game still have some faster sections to them. I take that back, there is one really big exception to what I've just said.
Well, yeah, that. Those starfishes can go fuck themselves, by the way.
But this time around, Sonic's got an awesome new ability. He can spin dash.
Spin attack!
Also returning from the first game are the shield, the sneakers, and the star power, which gives Sonic invincibility. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 generally feels like the same game as Sonic the Hedgehog 1, save for, the couple new things, such as the spin dash being added in, and being able to play as Sonic, Tails, or Sonic and Tails together. It's really just a little bit more of the same thing, but improved upon. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fantastic game. Oh yeah, and do you guys remember those special stages that I hated so much in Sonic the Hedgehog 1? Well, this time around, they don't fucking blow ass. Special stages in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 are a blast. No, not a 3D blast, just a blast. Not only do the special stages in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 manage to avoid being headache-inducing such as the ones in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but they're an absolute treat to look at, and they're fun to play, and just listen to this booming soundtrack. This song is awesome. Oh yeah, just a little itty-bitty word of caution, Tails is the most retarded you will ever see him in these stages. If you think sometimes he's glitchy and freaked out in the regular gameplay, just wait until you're trying to get all these Chaos Emeralds and this fucker just loses your rings back to back. Did you need to get 190 rings in the latest special stage just to get the Chaos Emerald? Too fucking bad. Tails hates you and he thinks the bombs are rings. Go fuck yourself, Tails. New to this game from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is now the ability to become Super Sonic whenever you get the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Transforming into Super Sonic is easy. All you gotta do is get 50 rings, jump in the air, hit the jump button again, and then you get super spikes, and Sonic turns gold, and he becomes invincible, so it's basically like having star power, but on crack, so that makes it instantly better, essentially. But the drawback of becoming Super Sonic is that you can get stuck in some really stupid places, causing you to have to reset the game, and it feels more like a feature that they just added on kind of towards the end of development, just because they said, why the hell not? Point case being, why would you want to be Super Sonic if you're just going to get stuck and have to reset your game every 5 minutes? There's no point in being Super Sonic. Who needs to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds? I could do that shit in my sleep. I didn't get all the emeralds on this playthrough. So now you're at the final boss, and shit is getting intense. This is an actual climax to the game, unlike Sonic the Hedgehog 1. They have you in space, and things are intense, and there's actual final bosses about this level. And sure, you don't have any rings to really help you out, you die in one hit, but hey, that's no problem. All you gotta do is play this out like a pro. All you have to do is beat 2 bosses without dying, without taking a single... I'm fucking done with this game.
If you want to be able to take your life in a 3D perspective, you have to have Sonic the Hedgehog 3D Blast 3D glasses, because you can't be blasting in 3D with your blast processing without these Sonic the Hedgehog 3D Blast glasses. Another thing you also gotta have is you have to have some classic Sonic the Hedgehog based literature. I have my favorites of the Sonic Archie comics right here. See, once again, this is not a sign of Sonic autism. This is a sign of being a faithful collector to Sonic the Hedgehog merchandise. So, once again, don't confuse being a Sonic autist for a collector. I'm the latter, not a Sonic autist. I got these things. This is Sonic CD, also known as originally CD Sonic or Sonic the Hedgehog CD in certain places. And this one was met with mixed reviews. There's a lot of people who like it, there's a lot of people who hate it. You know, really it's just going to determine who you talk to about this game. Personally, I didn't get any real experience with Sonic CD up until they released it on Steam in 2011, where I got my hands on a copy there. And I can say from my experience with it, I'm kind of like halfway in the boat with this game. I don't know where to put it.
But the thing about Sonic CD that I find interesting is the fact that this game started as development as a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 port for the Sega CD or the Mega CD. But then it ended up kind of becoming its own thing, and this is where it really shines, as it took advantage of the Sega CD's full capabilities in a term that, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog never would be able to do. It's definitely a gem. Sonic CD immediately catches my eye as soon as the animated intro sequence ends. There's just something very visually pleasing about it. I mean, it's not as updated looking as Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but it's bright. It's got this vibrant, colorful soundtrack to it right from the get-go. Sonic might look a little bit old and outdated in terms of his sprites looking like they're from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and his jump sound as well, but there's also a lot of new sprite work done in this game to make Sonic have a different flair about him as he moves around these levels. Just one of the many few examples includes Sonic. When he's running at full speed, he does his cross-legged figure 8 running animation where his feet kind of look like they're doing a figure 8 motion, and that was only really predominantly featured in the cartoons of the 90s for Sonic the Hedgehog and not any of the classic Sonic games 1 through Knuckles. But in this game, it's here, and, well, it looks nice, surprisingly. It's a welcome change. Ah, fuck, I forgot all about this bullshit. This is the game that Amy Rose originally made her first debut in. Yes, she's just as annoying as she is in the later games from 2000s and up. Not only did she have the nerve to stalk Sonic, but she also had the fucking balls to climb up the giant-ass chain holding that planet down. And then when you try to run by her, even brush by her, she will cling onto you and spit fucking hearts at you. She's easily avoidable, but for anybody playing this through on their first time, they're just gonna run into her, and then they're gonna think, what the fuck is this? I think it would be fair to say that Amy Rose in Sonic CD is just as annoying as she would be in all future games she makes an appearance in. And I also think it would be fair to say that Amy Rose is one of the worst additions to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise in general, just due to the awful cringy things that will come out of the fan base years down the road.
Many years down the road.
You asked for Sonic that's jumping on top of her. She gasped and she caught sight of Sonic's fully erect cock, dipping in anticipation of what was to come. Wow, you're even bigger than I thought. Amy says, so, wait. Wow, you're even bigger. Crap. Wow, you're even bigger than I thought.
The biggest new mechanic of Sonic CD is easily the feature where you have to go into the past and correct the future by destroying some machines that make robots, or I think destroying a hologram of Metal Sonic. Either way though, you have to go into the past, go back to the present, then go to the future, and the objective of each zone is to make a perfect future for the area. If you are able to successfully make a perfect future for every zone in the game, you get the best ending possible. Yes, that's right, this game has multiple endings possible, but the best ones are obtained by completion, not speed. That being said, Sonic CD can sometimes slow down to a crawl just because of the fact that you have to spend so much time exploring each zone in order to go back in time, destroy the stuff, then go forward and then go forward again to the future. To make matters on this situation even worse, some of these levels just aren't designed for speed. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog 1 all over again, but now they want you to go fast, but you can't go fast because there's shit blocking your way in every level possible. Nearly every level in Sonic CD is designed with the idea of trying to keep you from going fast just enough to be able to keep you from going forward or backward in time. The badnik placement in some of these zones is extremely sparse, and I can see why, because they wanted to make the level your enemy, not the badniks. And yes, I know most of the badniks in all Sonic the Hedgehog games of this era are pretty easy to get around. You don't have to deal with them too much, so there's no worry about getting hurt or dying because of them, except for these fucking starfish. Look at these guys, the moths in this level? These moth badniks don't even hurt you unless you let them run into you, and all they do is sprinkle a little dust on you, and the dust doesn't do anything. While so many people love Sonic CD, I can easily see the point people make when they say that Sonic CD isn't that good of a game and it's pretty poorly designed. The scenery, the music, the sprite work, the bosses, everything in this game about that is pretty good to look at. It's great and it's a pleasure to the eye and to the senses in general. But then we have this thrown in new mechanic of the time stones and how you have to collect them all and then going into the future and the past and changing shit around in order to get different endings of the game. It just makes things a little too complex for what a great simple formula Sonic the Hedgehog was to begin with. Long story short, it's fun, I played it, but it's really just not my cup of tea when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog games in general. Honestly though, after playing Sonic CD, I think I would have much rather seen a port of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 make its way to the Sega CD. So just picture this in your head. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, with anime cutscenes, with CD quality music, more storage capacity for sprites, levels, and other assets in the game that they could possibly have. It would have been awesome if we had had an even more souped up, on crack steroids version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I suck complete shit at Sonic CD. And while this might make my opinion a little bit biased against it, I'm not gonna mince words. It's a terribly hard game in comparison to the other Sonic the Hedgehog games of this era, where you generally just, go right and jump, and that's fucking it. You only do that in those games. This game is hard, but hey, that's just my opinion.
You have to applaud this other team's effort and what they really tried to do to push the Sonic the Hedgehog games in a brand new direction, when what they were really just handed was a side project to make a CD version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. They pumped out something that was completely different and experimental in comparison to what traditional Sonic experiences had been up to this point with the first two games.